Hey guys, what's going on? Texas Triple Tapper here. I wanted to show you guys a recipe that I really enjoy making. It's Pico de Gallo. It's actually a pretty healthy item because rather than buying like salsa or any of those kind of things in the store, when the salt content is already in it and it's 99 times out of 100 it's really high. If you make it yourself, you can absolutely control the salt content, and in my opinion, fresh is always better. So a couple of things we're going to need here. Got a spoon for stirring, nice sharp knife, cutting board obviously. I have a little like a little tea towel placed under mine so it doesn't move. Another little towel just for kind of wiping up as we go, wiping our hands. Got a little mixing bowl. And of course here we have the ingredients. We have some tomatoes. These are Roma tomatoes. These are fresh jalapenos. These are just a couple of cloves of garlic. I like garlic. And all of this stuff, like with the garlic and salt, pepper, all that kind of stuff, you can of course make it to taste. Got an avocado here. I put just a little bit of avocado in mine. I really like it. Adds a nice extra depth of flavor. Also, I use the red onions. You can use white or yellow or whatever. I just kind of prefer the red onions. Got a lime here. A little bit of salt. This is one of my favorite, Tony Chachere's. And of course some pepper and extra virgin olive oil. And if you have high blood pressure, as I mentioned before about with the salt content, you can use Mrs. Dash. This is actually a really good substitute. I am, in case you guys didn't know, I am a registered nurse, so you can feel pretty comfortable with the things I say regarding diet and various disease processes. So last but not least, this is a container here for storing, just so you can keep it a little bit longer. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. I've already washed and dried off the vegetables. It's a really good idea to do that. Because you never know what kind of dirt and gunk and pesticides or ant shit or whoever, beetle shit, who knows what's going to be on your ingredients here. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So I'm just going to begin by cutting the tops off of these tomatoes, and I'm going to cut them kind of thick in the slices here. Just kind of put the garbage pieces off to the side. And then we're going to do the other ones. And we'll just keep cutting them. You can cut these any way you want. This is just a way that I do it. I mean, some people, will pull the seeds out. I'm not going to do that. Because these Roma tomatoes, these don't have a whole heck of a lot of seeds in them anyway. So it's not going to be too terrible. Now, speaking of seeds, the jalapenos, we're going to cut through those and seed them. We don't want to eat those, or at least I don't. You may want to. Completely up to you. So while I'm chopping here, like I mentioned before, I am a registered nurse, and I'm going to start doing little video series on some disease processes and things like that, in particular like diabetes, high blood pressure, things of that nature. And try to help people understand their disease process and what they can do to, kind of have a better life. Let's see here. So now I'm just going to kind of cut these in kind of quarters. I like it kind of chunky. Like I said, this is kind of just a personal preference for me. You can cut them, as I said, as small or as large as you want. No real right or wrong here. There's a couple of Mexican restaurants in the area where I live. I live up in the Woodlands, Texas, a little bit north of Houston, if you guys aren't familiar with that. There's a couple of real good Tex-Mex places, and they'll make tableside guacamole or that kind of stuff, and man, I love that stuff. There's nothing better, in my opinion, than nice fresh ingredients, when it hasn't been sitting in the back and in the fridge, or who the hell knows when they made it. So this way at least you know it's fresh. And like I said before, you can really control the content. I mean, you know, some people don't like garlic, some people do. Some people, you know, may want to use bell peppers instead of jalapeno peppers. You know, when you make it yourself, that's the beauty of it. You can really kind of customize it and see what you like. And if you make one batch one time and say, well, you know, this tasted okay, but I would have liked to have maybe this or that, or whatever the case. Maybe next time, you know, you try a yellow onion or whatever. So that's what's nice about making it yourself. Almost done here with the tomatoes. As you can see, I got a nice big bowl of them. Almost done. I love tomatoes. I put them on all kinds of stuff. I love them in salad, chilies, all kinds of stuff. They're really good for you too. All right, jalapeno time. So we're gonna cut the top stem off. I just like to cut that little bottom part off, and I'm gonna just kind of come down the side here and kind of open up the skin a little bit, and just kind of go down, and you'll see the seeds in there, and that kind of middle part. I'm just going to kind of get that out. I'm being extra careful here with my knife. So I got most of that seed out. The little middle part right here. Kind of open it up a little bit better. Now we'll kind of go the other way. Give it a scrape with the knife. That one's good. This one's almost good. You see, like this little, it's a slightly lighter color green. It's kind of like a little membrane. I like to get those off too. And then of course I'll push my stuff over here to the side. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do these kind of one at a time. I'm going to chop them up relatively fine. You can, again, chop them at your leisure. And I'm not going to be all Gordon Ramsay with it. Just get a nice little fine but rough chop and just put those right in there. And if you get a seed or two, you know, it's not that big a deal. And so I'm going to start with one. I have another one if I want to add it. That's the thing, you can start small and always go back and add a little bit more. It's much easier to add than it is to take away. Get that guy over there. These jalapenos smell great. I got these at a local H-E-B tonight. If you guys aren't familiar with H-E-B, I'm really sorry. H-E-B is a phenomenal grocery store. I love me some H-E-B. Alright. Jalapenos down. So now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pause the video. I'm just going to kind of clean up a little bit. I'm going to flip my cutting board because I'm pretty much done with the really wet ingredients, and then I'm going to use the other side to do the remainder of my stuff. Alright guys, back again. So I went ahead and cut up that other jalapeno, put it in here, and just kind of gave it a nice gentle toss with the tomatoes. I'm not really digging my spoon in there as I don't want to really break the tomatoes. I'm just kind of folding it in on itself and just getting that nice color there. As you can see, nice bright red and green. It's like Christmas. So now what we're going to do, move on to the garlic. This is a pretty good sized clove. I got two. I really like garlic, and again, this is something you can kind of do to taste. You just smack them with the blade of your knife and just peel it off here and get down to that knife. This is a huge clove of garlic. Look at that thing. It smells great. I love the smell of garlic. Unless it's on someone's breath. Right. So, garlic's kind of sticky. So I got a couple towels here. So what I'm going to do is just kind of get that down and just kind of rough chop it. Kind of turn it this way. Do the same. It'll start to stick to your knife here. Let's bring in this big boy over here. now you can just kind of start chopping it and scooping it, and just kind of keep it in one place. Just go over it gently with your knife here. Just do like a little rock chop. Keep your fingers out of the way. Then you can just peel it off. Be careful when you're doing that. Run it down the blade. I know some of you safety gurus may say, oh, well, that's not this or that. I've been doing this a while. Haven't cut myself yet. So I try to be extra special careful. And my tetanus shot is up to date. So if something does happen, it'll be alright. Okay, that's good enough. So now I'm just going to kind of scoop it up here and get it off, get it in there. Alright, almost done with the garlic. Waste not, want not, right? Alright, so that's pretty good. I'm just going to rinse a little bit on my fingers here. Just kind of rinse off my knife. Rinse off my hand. Got a nice clean dry towel here. Just run it over. And we are good to go. So, now what we're going to do is we are going to use, I'm not going to use this whole onion, this is a massive onion. So there's a special kind of way to chop an onion. I'll show you that here. You may have seen it. If not, it's actually pretty cool. Helps you kind of get more uniform pieces and kind of make short work of an onion. So what I'm going to do, you see the root end here, I'm just going to kind of cut through that, but it'll still leave the root intact. So now what I'm going to do is slice directly down through the root like this. Cut it in half like so. I'm actually going to kind of cut that part off here too. So I've already taken the liberty of peeling off that kind of top layer of skin. So now what you have is you have the root here still holding the onion intact. So now what I'm going to do is you just face the root away from you, and I'm just going to kind of come in like this and just make cuts. See, I'm not going all the way back through the onion, still leaving it on there, and I'm just going to make some diagonal cuts like so, about 3/4 of the way through the onion. Keeping my fingers at a nice safe distance. Whoops, this little part right here wanted to just peel off, so I'm just going to let it. Be nice and careful not to cut myself. And you can do kind of one more. I'm just kind of keeping my thumb out of the way. So now, what some people will do is they'll kind of make a horizontal kind of cut through the onion like so. Again, nice and careful, not going all the way to the back. So now, what you do is you just kind of come in here and you're pulling the onion in, keeping your fingers out of the way, and just chop straight down. Now look at that. Nice, uniform, mostly uniform. I mean, I'm no expert. Again, I'm no Gordon Ramsay. But as you can see, by and large, we have uniform bits of onion. And I'm not even going to use the whole half. I'm just kind of picking out a little bit of those yellow pieces. And then now, you just kind of dump it in there. Like so. You see that beautiful color starting to, the contrast of the color starting to kind of come together. You're not really supposed to scrape kind of with the blade of your knife like that, but I'm being pretty careful. And this is a Wusthof knife. I believe it's one of their precision knives. I absolutely love it. It cuts really, really, really well. So now, again, I'm just going to kind of get my spoon in here. I probably should have gotten a bigger bowl in hindsight, but that's okay. It'll do the trick. And again, I'm just kind of getting in underneath it and just kind of tossing it around. So you see that color starting to come together. Okay, so now we're almost done, guys. Next thing is this lime here, and you just kind of rub it around like so, and all you got to do is just cut it directly in half. I love lime juice, so I'm going to move my spoon. I'm just going to kind of squeeze it. I actually have a lime squeezer, but I'm just doing this one by hand here. Get that lime juice in there really, really well. I'm going to go ahead and use the other guy too. I'm going to be putting that avocado in there, and this lime juice, the acidity will help to kind of stave off the avocado turning brown. If memory serves, that is a form of oxidation. So when the avocado mixes with oxygen, it starts to turn color and brown. You can use some acidity like so and kind of stave that off. I was no chemistry major, but I took enough chemistry to think I have a pretty good idea what I'm talking about. Okay, so now with this avocado, I'm just going to kind of take it, get me a little line going, just kind of follow that all the way around. There we go. Kind of open it, and one thing I didn't grab was a spoon. Some people say if you leave the, like if you make, say, just plain old guacamole, and if you just leave the pit in it, inside of what you're making, that helps to keep it from turning brown. Well, I didn't do the best job of getting that out of there, but wasn't the worst either. So now what I want to do is just kind of cut through this a little bit. Even though it looks mushy, it's still pretty well formed. Alright, so now I'm gonna just kind of put some of these pieces in here like this, and if it kind of turns a little bit, it'll be alright. Just gonna kind of put it in there like so, on top like that, and get my hands wiped off. You can even wait till the end to do this. It's really up to you. Really depends on how long you're going to let these flavors marry and set up, and I'll come back to that in a minute. So I'm just dusting it lightly with just a little bit of Tony Chachere's here. This has a little bit of a spice to it, a little bit of a kick, which is why I really, really like it. So now some fresh cracked black pepper. I also like a lot of pepper. Alright, should be good. And last but not least, I'm just going to put a little bit of olive oil over it. Not going to drown it in it. I'm not making a dressing or anything. I'm just going to kind of, there we go. So now that we have all of that in there, what I'm going to do is kind of get my spoon in there, and again, just being kind of gentle, and just kind of get some of those additional flavors that I've had added in there. The garlic, the pepper, the salt, the avocado, olive oil, all of those good things. I'm just kind of giving it a little bit of a turn, and I can really smell those flavors coming together. All right, and you see the avocado is still in there, intact, and I'm gonna give it one more stir from the bottom to just kind of bring some of the juices and whatnot to the top. Had a jalapeno jump out. I'm going to put it back in there, and that's pretty much it. One other thing that I wanted to grab is just a little piece of saran wrap. I know I've got some over here somewhere. Here we go. Cling wrap. So now what I'm going to do is just get a little bit of this, and put it over the top. I'm gonna stick it in the fridge. If I can get this stuff to cooperate with me. They don't call this stuff cling wrap for nothing. It really clings. So just get some of that and just put this over the top. And seal it off, just kind of pushing it down over it. And that's it, guys. Like I said, you can let this kind of, you know, set up for at least 30 minutes is what I would recommend. You know, the longer that it sets up, the better those flavors are going to kind of marry and taste. But you know, again, that's a personal preference. I'm probably going to let it set up overnight, and I'll probably eat this with some eggs in the morning. So, you know, it's a pretty yummy dish, lots of flavors, and you know, like I said, I didn't really use anything that was all that unhealthy except for the salt. And again, you can substitute with a salt-free substitute. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions, comments, leave them down below. Until next time, Texas Triple Tapper, out.